Well, good morning on Good Morning Geelong, and good to be with you. You probably have noticed, I suppose there was a lot of controversy about it a week or so ago. All the debate about the chaser, and must admit, I've never been a fan or a devotee of their comedy, sometimes in inverted commas, on Channel 2. But it seemed to hit a new area of, poor taste, to say the least, just a week or so ago, when they had a segment which really was a bit of a send-up of sick children. And for anyone who's had sick children, and I've certainly been in contact with lots of people over the years, particularly people who've lost children through terminal illness, anything which tries to find humour in that, they're just living on another planet. So, somehow or other, they seem to think it was, the chaser people seem to think it was fair game, but possibly they've had a bit of a rethink about it since. Then again, maybe they haven't. The reaction of the ABC, who use, of course, your money and mine, to fund their programs, and the chaser people are reportedly amongst their highest paid performers. They slapped a 2-week sin bin type, you say in football terms, 2-week penalty on them. Well, that makes a big difference, doesn't it? They're still on full pay, they're still getting exactly the amount of money they were contracted for in the first place. The only difference that's going to make is that the program, maybe instead of finishing in, say, the end of August, will finish in the middle of September. And what sort of a lesson is learnt in all of that? The deeper question, I guess, is when we get to something like this, that we can be putting to air on our money, on government money, taxpayers' money, programs which try and take the mickey out of sick children, and all of the things to do with that, people with disabilities, all sorts of ridicule that is done supposedly in the name of comedy. When that is put to air, not just by the people that are on the screen, but by the other people along the line who give it a tick and say, yes, we'll put this to air, and then run for cover when the debate ensues later on. When all of this is done, what is that really saying about us as a society? For many years, of course, we've seen the boundaries pushed. It's a common expression that is used, particularly in terms of entertainment and media. Oh, so-and-so is pushing the boundaries and so on. Well, they're pushing them not so much out, but one might say they're pushing them down. If there's one refreshing thing that came out of that whole chaser episode and the terminally ill children, it's the fact that people have said they've crossed the line. And certainly I, for one, and others I've spoken to have agreed that it's good to know that at least a line exists. The question is, where is the line? Where's the line for you? Where's the line for me? Because ultimately, in the long run, we can't make laws about these things. We've tried in the terms of censorship and so on. There are certain areas where there may be censorship does come in, but ultimately, particularly with the internet, of course, a lot of that is up to the individual person. If you want to go onto the internet, you can see every bit of ugliness and degradation, sexual violence, whatever that you wish. It's all there. It's a matter of just what's within each of us, which says, I want to watch that, or I will watch that. And of course, we become quite desensitised, and our own personal boundaries get pushed lower and lower. I suppose we use the word taste, and taste is something that's there within us. We have a broadcasting tribunal in Australia. I think they call it the Broadcasting Commission these days, which is pretty well a bit of a toothless tiger, I think, from what I can see. They receive only a couple of hundred at the most complaints per year, and that's probably because most people think, well, what's going to happen about it anyhow? Why worry and why bother? Because we might see things which we would object to, but where do you take it to? At least in commercial channels you can take it to the sponsors and say, if you advertise like this or on this program, I won't buy your product. But we're just one voice amongst many. Ultimately, it's you and it's me. What do we watch? What do we subject ourselves to? What sort of standards do we develop within ourselves? Imposed standards are one thing, but what we develop within terms of our own respect for ourselves and for one another are another thing again. If the Chaser's war on everything has done anything, it's probably given an opportunity for each of us to consider, well, what are our boundaries? What are yours? What are mine? I suppose I have a fair idea what mine are, but in all reality, probably mine aren't as good or as respectful as they might have been a few years ago. That's because, well, we just get used to the boundaries being pushed lower. And maybe the fact that the line can be crossed, the line does exist, might give us an opportunity to say, hey, we can do better than this. We can do better individually, we can do better as a community, as a society, not just within our media, but just the way in which we treat one another. So, yeah, let's maybe see a little bit of good out of something that was pretty ugly in terms of Australian media and television, and say, well, let's raise our banner, raise our tastes, give something really worthwhile into the community, and let's make this a better place in which to live. Good to be with you, and hopefully we'll catch up again soon.